Daddy Mac. Dan's 30 years got our way, trading life and markets every day. Rusty's chained to the mines, digging deep day by day. But when Option Omega releases new features, he's free to come out and play. Option Omega, you're trading home, where every move makes you feel less alone.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Good morning.
Got the full crew this morning. Rusty's out of the mine.
That's right.
I'm wearing a linen shirt. It's a Friday.
A linen shirt on Friday. Yeah.
Happy Friday.
Happy.
I got my tunic on.
All right, it looks like you have shirts behind you. Is that the box on in the background?
Don't worry about that Port Authority shirt. Don't worry about that. What's in the box?
Yeah, what's in the
box?
What's in the box? So what I'll tell you what's in the box is our very own model this morning is showing you what's in the box. Shout out Dan Sheridan with the Option Omega gear. So
there it is.
Got the OO.
Guys, listen, the market goes up 40, the market goes down 40. The market goes up 40 in an hour, goes down 40 in an hour. All we do here is we just trade the plan. And the plan is to not lose any money. And sometimes the plan works and sometimes the plan doesn't work.
Is that
No.
Yeah, that's
plan.
not the plan.
What are you talking about?
Wait, you guys told me that was the plan. What's your plan? Dang it, Matt.
I mean, follow the plan, trust the
Plan's
plan.
not to blow up your
Trust the
account.
plan.
And don't blow up
Survive.
your account. Yeah.
Is it safe to say that it's the part of the plan should be to make more money than you lose money?
Over the long run.
That's a courageous goal. Yeah.
Courageous
You do,
goal.
Matt.
If you have a bad plan, that's one thing. But yeah, I think isn't there a lot of psychology on like trying to be okay with losing and coming to that spot, which I'm still not 100% at that spot yet. You know,
Yeah.
I'm close. I'm the closest I've been, but I still sometimes get emotional about losses. And when you look at a back test, you look at a green back test, high Marr back test, whatever, and you think, oh, yes. But you might be at the bottom of the drawdown, you know, in that back test. You might be at that spot.
That's right.
And so yeah, I think our friend Steve from Navigation has some good stuff on this about the trusting the process. And the process, I think, is what if your process is set up properly, that's what's going to yield results, not avoidance of losing.
Well,
That's right.
agreed. Hard agree. And would you say that it's safe to say that any plan is make good tests that you can build confidence on to where when you lose in them, you know you'll win in the long term if you just trust it? Is that
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's a big part of it. And then position sizing, you know, like I think
Listen, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
I
I think
was
the
gonna
great
say that
prophet
too.
Mike Tyson said that.
Oh, I was going to ask you
true.
who said that.
Poet laureate Mike Tyson.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Everyone knows. Mike Tyson said it, and it's true.
It is
Everyone's
true.
got a plan until they get punched in the freaking face. And when the whole point of like, oh, I'm trying not to lose. A lot of people actually, they won't say it. They won't say it out loud, right? But when they get punched in the face, is that how you act? You know what I mean? If you've had a couple losers in a row and then you suddenly have a green day, you know, a few trades are green, do you get nervous and take all your trades off early and thus kill your positive
I
expectancy?
mean, nobody's ever done that.
No.
Oh
Right.
my-
So what you're saying is you have to make money in the long run, you have to be willing to lose a little bit of money.
No pain,
and be
no
okay
gain.
with that.
No pain, no gain.
I think we came to a good spot here. I think shout out what Matt just said, because
The heck was that?
special
Uh-oh.
announcement. Next Tuesday, August 12th, we have a very special guest on the OO show. Mr. Steve from Navigation Trading will be making his debut on the OO show as a special guest.
I
Shout
love
out
it.
Steve. We're very excited
down.
about that. So
That's the
I had
12th?
a
Okay.
Yep, Tuesday.
Okay.
I had a Zoom call with Steve and Dan the other day, and I'm a pretty big fella, tall guy, big guy, and it was like just a baby boy sitting with
A
his
man
mentors.
amongst giants.
It was. I was very.
You know what I
thrilled to
thought
be
of? See,
there.
that's me being always followed basketball. Now, this could be a horrible, Steve is the nicest guy, we were talking with him. But see, that's how bad I am when it's like, I look at him and I told my son after, I said, boy, you know who he looks like a little bit? Do you remember he coached Dwayne Wade in college? Crean?
Tom Crean, yeah.
Tom Crean, a
Famous-
little bit of
famous
Tom
basketball
Crean.
player.
And my son Michael says, why do you think like that? I mean, how do you, it's like you process somebody through your fingers. I'm like,
Why is your brain working like that?
why is how do I fix? Is it too late to go into the, neurologist?
That's right.
Can you tweak it a little bit this way? Can I just backtrack just a second? I remember, it's like over the years, students going along with what you guys are saying, people would say when they had maybe a little bit of a losing streak. And a lot of it, the losing streak, I mean, when you think, and it is, what Matt always says, and it sticks in my mind because I've got a lot of things, I've got some things automated, and Dan, trust and I hear like the master sensei, trust the backtest. But when students, it always comes down to, when the students go through this, like I have to disappear, go into a cave and meditate because I had Dan, these two big losers have really shaken me up. But, I've always asked students, that have had those, because everybody will say, I would have had a great year except for these two trades, right? That I lost 9 times what I said. And really it comes down to, in back testing also, when you have rails on, right? Why are rails there? Rails are there to make sure you make it to the next trade, the next week, right? And that's the same thing. But it's interesting. I've asked students through the years and said, hey, in those 3 instances where you lost 4 times your average, winner, or 5 times or 10 times, could you have got out? I mean, when you wanted to, when the rail would have, now you have, to me, no excuse with automation. And they always say, yeah, I could have got out, right? I could have done it. But now there's less excuses. When you have automation, you can put a reasonable rail in there, either right by delta, and that's what I love about it more than anything, because if the automation didn't have really good rails, well then, it's you're really limiting, because you're just saying, we'll see what happens. But the question is, do you leave the rails alone? But the other thing is, you're right. Even if you have the rails, but you start picking, I'm going to play this day. I'm not going to play this day. I'll play this day. And it takes time. But the other thing I was going to say is, when traders aren't doing so well, they'll start saying, Dan, do you know any good trading psychology books out there? Do you know any good, this guy's a genius, and this guy will tell you, breathe or do whatever. And I say this, when I was in the trading pits, there were many, many guys.
Shout out to the chat.
There were many guys in the pit, and I'm thinking of probably 15 right now, probably including myself. But really, you wonder, once the trading day ended at 3, were they going to make it to the next day, right? In terms of, nefarious, just crazy lifestyle, crazy person. But you know what? It was like Ernest Hemingway when he was is this true? When he was drinking a lot, he was still disciplined to do his 5 hours of writing a day. And I think these guys in the pit, even the crazy ones, because there was risk management, there was rails. They had, the fear in the pit was, if I lose too much, I'll have to go get a normal job, right? I'll have to go to the shoe store or whatever it is. So they were there. Whereas I think the struggle with retail traders is it's their money, right? They don't have anybody. I mean, I was highly motivated. We'd have a morning meeting every morning, and John Nigerian, who I was working with, and his brother Pete, you had to say to them, look, if we go down a standard deviation, I'm long 10,000 deltas on the way down. I will cut my deltas in half. I will. But you know what? If you came in the morning, they didn't care if you lost or made. I mean, it was part of the game. If you didn't cut your deltas down, you might get a warning and then you'd get fired. And the problem with retail people is there's no one to fire them, because
That's right.
you say it's your money. You're accountable to your wife and everything like that. But that's the problem. I mean, we were heavily accountable in the pit. So it just developed. I wasn't. If I said I was going to adjust, and I think when people look at like rails or adjustments, I mean, that's the nice thing on automation. If you leave it there, it'll take care of you. And that's one thing I like automation, because, I can't tell you how many veteran traders and stuff would just miss adjustment stuff. And I'm just saying, in the pit, you would have got fired. They did not put up with, and you could do it, right? You were motivated because you didn't want to lose your job. Here, for a retail trader, especially if they're doing 2 contracts or something, whatever. So,
well, a lot of people blow up their accounts. That's how they get fired. You get fired when the broker fires you because you can't put any trades on.
That's true. The broker files you, so you can't trade anymore. Yeah. No more money.
That happens, I think, more than any of us would admit, because people don't usually say it publicly. But just in my own, admittedly, like limited and anecdotal experience, I know quite a few people who have blown up their accounts. Now, thankfully, their accounts isn't their life savings, to your point,
which is great.
Which is great. So it's a smaller amount that they've allocated outside of, let's say, their 401ks and things like that. Yeah. But still, you hear people regularly, they didn't trust the backtest, they didn't trust the process. Maybe they said, the market's going to mean revert. I'm just going to increase my stop. I'm going to increase my stop until they take a giant loss, or they nibble on the profits. And so if you get a string of losers, guess what? Those nibbling profits, now you're losing a ton of money and gaining very little. It's just crazy. Yeah.
But if you just described probably 20% of options traders. I would think 80% of them aren't even as sophisticated as what you described. I mean, you have to spend about 5 minutes on Reddit or Twitter and read the questions that people are asking. And it's like, guys, you don't have to guess at these questions. Like, there are tools available to help you. The people putting huge trades on I'm just going to do, I think 15 delta at 3DT Condor, blah, 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 blah. It's like, bro, what are you like? You can backtest that. Like, most people, the vast majority of people, in my opinion, from what I've seen, still trading options, have no idea what the modeling, backtesting, automation capabilities are that are commonplace now. And they've only been available in the last couple of years. I mean, it is new, but most people trading options still just have no flipping clue, I think. I mean, I don't know how you quantify that at our level. I guess you could do a high level survey of 10,000 options traders, but a lot of people still just haven't. I mean, even beyond what you said, Rusty, still just have no clue.
I think the brokerage firms could do themselves a big favor if they said, okay, are you new? Are you new? Have you traded money? No, I don't know what I'm doing. But I've got some capital or whatever. Say, look, for your own protection, for the first 4 months, you cannot go over, they'll never do that, but you will not trade over one contract. Rails. You will not have more than $3,000 in your account, because there has to be some kind of learning there. And people don't want to do it. They want to just come in gunslinging like the Wild West.
Yep. Well, here, I've thought about this a lot, Dan. You're dead on. And here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I think. On its face, it seems deceptively simple, option trading. Now, maybe not, because it is arcane. There's all these terms. There's terms upon terms. Short, you got to learn what a short and a long is, what a call and a put is, what an option itself is. But once you get past the basics, it seems simple. You put on the trade, you take off the trade. And so people come into this having had success in their careers and their lives in general, and they look at this and say, I got this thing.
That's right.
But again, Mike Tyson comes out and waves his hand and says, again, everyone has a plan, because maybe they've been successful and haven't been punched in the face, but you will get punched in the face trading options. And if you don't, I actually fear for you, because then you're going to size up and then you'll get punched in the face in the worst time. So I think there's this mentality, and I say it because I was guilty of it, right? I'm decent at software development. I'd like to think, I've done it for 20 years. It's pretty complex stuff. And then you look at this, like, okay, I got this. I know math, I know stats. And so you get into it until you have 3 losing days in a row or a losing week. You know what I mean? And you're feeling it, and you're just stewing there because you're not used to losing. You're just stewing in it. And then you start fidgeting, and then you start overthinking stuff, and then you start messing with things. That's the point. I think people should come into this. It's almost like an apprentice mindset, to your point. You should come into it as a novice and don't think that it's easy. Even if you get the theory down, the execution and the actual emotions and the psychology of it they kind of reveal who you are in a lot of ways.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Oprah's, but I'm just going to put my straddles on.
Oprah's?
Oprah's.
Where do you go?
I don't know.
What?
I was trying to think of the most derogatory thing I could
You
say.
go, girl.
That
That's Oprah.
That was it.
You should have
You go,
heard.
girl.
So one time I was on the phone with a guy from OPRA, the Options Pricing Authority, Reporting Authority, and I'd never heard it pronounced. This is a while ago, and I was like, "Hey, is it Oprah or Opera?" And you could tell he just had gotten that question so many. This guy out of Chicago, super nice guy, but there was a part of his soul that just died in that moment. I feel like I crushed a little bit of him just asking him that question. He says, "It's Opera. It's not."
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there. Whether it's Oprah or Opera, both lame.
Both lame.
Anyway,
Not a fan of music, Troy.
Now listen, go back to your book club.
Jeez,
Let me trade my
goodness.
This is the man
Anyway,
who loves
all
to
right.
read.
So,
What are you
all right.
talking about? Yeah, this is a hot take.
All right. So listen, here we go. We're going to look at 2 tests today. We're continuing and finishing our little week of looking at a little crappy trade to try to make it better. A little just sell puts trade. Okay. And we got 2 that we're going to look at. So
Boy, you're such a
I said
salesman,
yesterday
Troy,
on the
with
show.
a message like that. I can't wait for more.
The hype is real.
Build a process. Build a process. Love to lose. If you love losing,
This is maybe why we should get
All
better
right,
at marketing. I mean, everybody else, you look at YouTube and it's like 0 to $1 trillion.
I know.
Option Omega.
Would you like
love to lose?
Here's
yacht
the thing,
dates
I mean,
tomorrow?
this is the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, real talk. This is the thing of marketing. Is like we have this tool, and it's like we could do all sorts of crazy things. They're like, this thing just gets Lambos.
One Lambo.
This test just produces
right.
Lambos.
Okay, Lambos. I want a Bugatti.
But the problem is, I've got people like Matt in my life that are like, "Hey, increase slippage. Hey, because Matt wants
we're
a
about
realistic
robustness
trade.
and rigor. Hello.
That's what I'm saying.
Hello.
Robustness and rigor and Lambo marketing. Sometimes it's a little bit of a tension. So, all right, here we go. 2 tests. First off, shout out.
There he
Sujeku.
is. By the way,
Shout
can
out.
we
Sujeku.
Sujeku? We need
Are we even saying his
we-
name right?
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask. Can you give us a phonetic in the chat
We
of
need a
how you
phonetic.
want your name pronounced?
No promises that
Sujeku.
we
I
will
said
ever say it
Sujeku.
right.
Yeah,
Um,
but Rusty and I mind. I think I say it's Sujeku in my mind. But that's like when you read a book for 10 years and you think about a character and then you meet somebody 10 years later that's talked about the book and they pronounce the character and you're like, I've never heard that pronunciation. That's not how I say it in my mind. So please give us a phonetic. Sujeku.
Troy will think
Thank
you're
you so
Russian no
much.
matter where you're from. That's it.
Hold on, too soon.
I'll disconnect this call
Okay.
right now. I'll disconnect this call.
I'll
All right.
disconnect.
So here we go. So here's the thing. This is Sujeku. Shout out Sujeku for saying totally right.
Yeah, we said it
Sounds
four
good
different
to me.
ways though. So
Yeah, well, he's just a
Exactly.
nice guy. Let's just give him a credit. He's just a nice guy. He's not
He's a
gonna
nice
correct.
guy. And he said basically, this is no Sujeku, but this is no Lambo, but this is an improvement on the trade. So what are we doing here? Matt, can you do a description here? What does it look like in this trade?
It's still the 2 DTE. It's the salt trade. Like maybe you need a little salt in your portfolio. I need to look at some 2 DT trades. And it does have some Punisher, the chat noticed. It's not my Punisher, it's your Punisher. You're supposed to the user is supposed to make friends with the Punisher. And what this backtest is, it's a 50 wide, basically at the money put spread. And what it looks like Sujeku did was he added this is like what he added, what I'm looking at is the entry. So we're in 3 years and we have almost 500 trades because all he added is one simple thing, which is the entry condition of your 2-day SMA above your 5-day SMA.
So
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And so here's what's interesting. So let's talk about the setup and then we'll talk about the results. The rest of the setup is he's got a ratcheting profit target. So it's part of the risk management is he's scaling out of the trade in the backtest. And he's also got a delta exit. And then he also has a stop loss intermittent, which is only going to apply on the last day. So this is actually deceptively a lot going on. And let me talk about this for just a second, because people talk a lot about fitting, right? He's got a lot of exit risk. There's a lot of risk management in this, a deceptive amount. But as far as curve fitting, what we're more concerned about is curve fitting the entry. And there's not really any curve fitting, except all you're looking for is a certain bullish market trend. And for that, like as a theoretical thing, leaving the filters pretty wide open with just one condition and then have that's appealing. Yeah. The exiting using leg deltas is going to catch the exits a couple days out. And I don't know exactly what they are. Yeah. Thank you, Troy. You're reading my mind. So basically, yeah, he's using that. Can you go to the trade log and look at a couple? Let's look at a couple leg delta exits when they apply. Okay. So there's one up. Yeah. Perfect. Stop. So this actually interesting. So the delta kicked in it was on the last day, right at the end. Scroll down. I wonder if the delta is going to kick in. Okay. There's a stop loss. Keep going. Stop. That's good. Perfect. Thank you. And, okay. So he's got, some other examples. So the delta works. This is interesting. So the delta works through, even through the life of the trade, the delta's catching things 2 days out. Can you go back up to the top for a second, Troy? And he's got slippage. And the other thing he's doing is he's got these ratchets to hit when a PT is getting hit. He's adjusting. He's not only taking some off the table, he's ratcheting the stop loss on the remaining stuff. So like I said, there's a lot of risk management going on. So I really like the thought process and all that.
Well, so this is a good discussion, because what happened at OO show discussion yesterday, shout out Discord. 2 things real quick. Absolutely smash that like and subscribe. And then go to OO show discussion in Discord, because people talk about these tests all day.
Yeah.
So this is a good one. I'm going to show you another one real quick. We're going to go two for one today, because after Sujeku put this out there, Mr. T said, "I pity the fool," or something like that, probably. because Mr. T added one. And I want to show you something interesting, and I think it'd be a good discussion for us to talk about. So, when Lambo, not yet, version 2, Mr. T, shout out Mr. T, don't catch falling knives, added the EMA filter. So, Matt, can you figure out this one is, tell the people what's going on in this one.
I mean, it's got an additional entry filter, so it's fitting the test a little bit more. I mean, it's got a not just a market 2-day SMA kind of bigger picture look. It's got a more intimate look with a 30-minute EMA, and then it still has, a lot of ratchets and the intermittent stop loss. It has the leg delta exits, and again, a nice punisher. It's got cap profits, required 2 hits, and then it has 35 cents exit slippage, which is that's kind of the number that I usually use on spread selling, a put credit spread stop loss. I usually use 35, no matter, if I'm doing IMSL or not. I like 35. There's people more experienced than me that use lesser amounts, but for me, that's a good number to use. So yeah, this, I mean, it's fitted a little bit more, but you're winning 3/4 of the time, and your losers
Well, you say
are
fitted, but it's following an underlying principle, which is
correct.
the market in a multi-day time frame is bullish, and in a
The
short
intraday.
game,
That's right.
yeah, in that day's time frame is also heading in the right direction. So I wouldn't call that fit. To me, the only thing that's really fit is like a 12:10 p.m. entry. I would prefer to see a test like this with maybe an hour entry. Like this is a one-time
you could
trade.
float
Do
the entry.
11:30 to 12:30 or 11:45 to 12:45 with an hour floating entry, because you're looking for just a period of time, maybe around lunch, when the market's going to start going up, and you say, let's do it then.
Yeah, and you'll also pick up more trades, increasing the robustness
You're
of the
gonna pick up more
backtest
trades.
probably, because
But-
This is the thing.
I mean, you're going to have I'm sure, catch more occurrences in there. And,
Yep.
If you have a trade that only works at 1 minute, there's a reason why. And the reason is probably it's not a great trade.
Now, that's not saying this only works at 1 minute. We're not saying
Right.
that.
No, I'm not saying that, but this would be interesting to float the entry a little bit.
Further research is necessary, but this is the thing that's interesting. And I think there was a discussion going on, and I thought it'd be interesting for us as the architects. I like to say that a lot. Anything I say. The question of curve fitting comes up a lot, because we've all seen it, where people say, I got this thing to a 35 Marr. And you're like, dude, it takes 2 trades in 8 years.
Right.
Like,
right.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
And so I do think there's a concept, but to the point Rusty, Dan, everybody, Matt, everybody has talked about this morning, there's a craftsmanship to this stuff. Like, in developing a plan takes craftsmanship, because I wouldn't say that 262 trades is curve fitted.
No, I wouldn't say
Personally
that at all.
No, I think we all would agree that that's the case, that it's not curve fitted. Like, now, do you have more confidence in 400 trades versus 262? That's where the nuance comes in, that you kind of have to depend on the strategy. You have to look. I would love a put selling strategy that has 1,000 occurrences at a 4 Marr. That would be awesome. But I think that's kind of the principle of MEIC, to be honest. Is you just get a crap ton of occurrences and you build confidence through it. But I thought that was an interesting thing, because I think some people, there was a debate in here afterwards of like, is this one really better than Sujeku's because it has less trades? And better or worse is, those terms are, it's all dependent on what you're trying to do
themselves.
Yeah.
Would you
shout out Kierkegaard,
or Matt or Rusty? Would you? I mean, I like looking at the delta exit using leg delta of 90. Do you think you have much leeway? Would you try, like, do you think it'd be, or would it be caving into to go to maybe 80, or would that? I mean, we'd have to.
I want to know without using a world-class backtester.
Oh yeah, try. I don't know. Is there any chance that if we just to see if you went to like
Do it
80
live.
or 85.
Do it live.
Yeah, do it with that. I mean,
So
they're
right
not-
now, when you're more than long 90 delta, you're out. Now you're
Yeah.
saying 90 deltas. That's
Pretty far.
that's
You're giving it
Well,
some
but
room to
here's the
come
thing.
back.
Again, this is the
You're right.
trade-off. Like I kind of understand why, because I mean, I've got a put spread. I'll say this. I've got a put spread that's a 50 delta put spread I put on. It has worked really, really well
Yeah.
the last couple of months. Because of my personality, I always hate losing in put spreads.
Yeah.
It's just I don't mind losing in DCs. I
I'm
hate
with you,
losing in put
brother.
spreads.
I'm with you, brother.
Yeah, brother.
Preacher,
Let me tell you
preacher,
something,
brother.
It took
I
this took the Marr down a little bit, the win percentage down a tinge, the max drawdown got a little bit less, which you would think.
but the point, but I agree with you, Dan, because the point I was gonna say with the put spread, I have a 50 delta, and you think about if you're putting a 50 delta put spread on intraday and it's a 0-day trade. Now this is 2 days, but it might even be more applicable to this. Like to go 90 deltas, maybe 30 points 2 days, 40 points. Well, like you look at these moves that we have. I mean, the market can move 30, 40 points
Easy.
in a day.
Sure.
And so I've seen that put spread come back and win when it was down almost
Yeah.
to the full loser.
You
And
gotta
it's a
get-
ride or
you're-
die.
you-
There's
you're,
no
you're
stop on
giving
it.
it a lot of rope to pull itself up on the cliff. And to your
That's a
I
good
think it's-
right.
That's a good
Or-
point. Yeah, at 90 at least you're giving it. Yeah, you're giving a little more rope. 80.
You test it though. I mean, that's the whole point of it is you say, how can I make this as safe as possible and still make it a good trade? And this is the thing of the nuance. There might be people that look at this and are like, I'm just not going to do 90. I'm going to do 80. I'm like, well, it doesn't perform as well.
That's the
Like,
key.
It's my
That's
account. It's my account.
Yeah.
I get it. You know,
Do you
It
give
is what it
any,
is.
like when you're going
And-
to test something like this, as far as Matt, Rusty, and Troy, do you give any weight? Okay, you look at it and you say, okay, it tests back to 2022. Here's the results. But now you weight it and you say, okay, let me test it this year. And this year it's killing it. Even though maybe it's not phenomenal to 2022, will you kind of ride the wave and say, you know what? This is the reality, what we're kind of doing right now in the market. Even though
There's tons
just
of
said
people
one
that
of the
yeah,
most
there's tons of
nuanced-
people that do that.
nuance.
they will, okay.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: the people that do a more short-term back test and said this year it's been working, last 9 months it's been working, last year it's been working. I think you've got to have a plan. To your point earlier,
Right.
you've got to have a plan.
Yes.
If the back test starts to take losses, if it goes in a direction where you're experiencing a new max drawdown, maybe you do it at half the size you were doing it before. And then
Hmm.
if it continues in that direction, maybe you put it on hold. So
That's
that's the thing. If you're gonna trade a shorter term back test, you have to tell yourself and have a plan, like a definite plan to say, well, when I stop trading this? Because you don't want to ride that thing straight into the sun. You know.
And know why, right? It's
Yeah.
just like saying somebody could say, 2022 did wonderful for me. I'm not sure why, but it did wonderful. Well, it's like you got to go back and look. Yeah, there's a reason, right? Premiums were a lot higher. 10 months of the year in 2022, the market was going down. And I think, I would be more apt to favor the near term if I knew exactly what was going on here.
Yeah.
Versus and like Rusty said, if things start changing from that and doing the size and everything, but I'd rather go off the full 3 years, but
Yeah, I think you do both, but I think there's certainly traders. I am not one of them. Shout out Wizzy, who is really, really good at short-term year-to-date stuff. And they'll find a year-to-date that works. So how do you know, to Rusty's point? This is just a layman's back of napkin calculation. I've got DCs that ran since 2020, 2018, whatever. I see in those that you can have a drawdown that loses 4 times in a row, 5 times in a row, right? And so that is so if I lose 3 times in a row in that trade, I'm okay. I'm good. if you have a year to date, obviously you're trading it because the Marr is higher. It's something that's working. So what you have to do is you have to say, okay, well, year to date, it has not lost 3 times in a row. So if it suddenly loses 3 times in a row, that's a very quick calculation.
That's
I mean,
right.
you move on. And I've seen Wizzy. I mean, for those who don't, Wizzy is a guy in our Discord who is maybe one of the best, most creative minds in option trading I've ever seen. He will do a test that looks awesome year to date, and like he will shun that test so fast. Because here's the thing, people, it's a constant thing. It year to date, but there's trades that are working better than these long-term ones. That's correct. There are always trades that are working better recently than the longer form trades, always, 100% of the time. Now, what do you do with that? You cannot see this as the perfect trade. This is simply a carrier that's happening for your money right now that you have to discard almost immediately as soon as it starts losing. And if you can do that, if you can do that, then you're the man and you keep, or the woman, and you keep going. If you are not that type of person, then don't do that.
Yeah.
So listen, those discussions are things that we have internally all the time. Those are things that but that's what this tool is built to do. It's built to have these discussions, and it's these type of discussions that make you a real trader and help you improve the craft. We are not a black box that just gives you good trades. It's a tool that helps you learn about options and think through options. And so that's what Option Omega is about, is trying to do tools to help you, yes, of course, find good trades that build confidence. But the confidence is almost as important as the good trade part, because we want you to be able to have discipline. And I'm going to make myself cry with this speech.
On that note, happy Friday, everybody. Market, the bell's going to tick off here in a few minutes. So we have Troy, what do we have going on this weekend on Option Omega?
Oh, I mean, it's a huge weekend on Option Omega. And for that, I want to shout out to Matt and ask the same question. Matt, what do we got going on?
Big YouTube video. We've had a lot of people ask for DC, a DC deep dive. Even yesterday, somebody asked, not knowing it had been worked on for weeks, a DC deep dive. So we have a DC deep dive coming out tonight, maybe tomorrow on the YouTube. And we're going to spend next week, I think, for a couple days chopping it up on this here OO show. So if you haven't smashed it, Troy, tell the people what to do.
Oh, just smash the like and subscribe.
Watch the YouTube video. Take notes. There won't be a test, but maybe there will be next week on the OO show.
Well, and what we're going to do next week is we're going to look at this video and we're going to deep dive the deep dive.
It's a double deep dive.
So it's the most deep dive. Would you say DC traders, double calendar traders, are closer to DC comics type people? Like a little brooding, a little dark.
Not a fan of
they can ride the wave.
Yeah, I can't. We need an expert from the chat to break down DC, Marvel, Image, etc. I can't quantify.
I'd like to have a whole show about how comic book movies are overrated.
You could do a whole week on that. But listen, people are already excited for the video. The chat is already abuzz. So
there it is.
Along with Troy, post that back test already. Hello. Geez, Troy.
I'm working on it.
Just kidding. So guys, in case you didn't know, Troy and I are working hard at getting all of the past OO shows, which there's like 100 plus, chapterized, because people go back and watch them. They're going to have chapters. They're going to have descriptions. Some of them will have backtest links. And you can go through. There's a huge library. If you're ever hunting for inspiration, we've got inspiration. So
on that note,
Rusty's fired up the chat right as we sign off here. He's got.
I did it on purpose. I knew there would be hot takes. I knew we would lose half our viewership.
It's okay. The bell's about to start anyway, so we got to sign off. Happy Friday, everybody.